The US is running out of money. In fact, it's a path toward bankruptcy. In 2024, the government brought in $4.92 trillion in revenue but spent a whopping $6.75 trillion, and that's a $1.83 trillion shortfall. To cover the gap, the government sells bonds, but those bonds comes with interest payments. And with rising rates, that debt is compounding faster than ever. It's a mess, and if things don't change, the country could face a financial crisis like no other. So what is the solution? Enter Elon Musk, billion tech mogul, but now head of a bold new initiative to save the governments from itself.
Basically, we're on a path to bankruptcy. America's on a path to bankruptcy. So we have to cut government spending, or we're just going to go bankrupt.
The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. At first glance, DOGE might sound like just another buzzword, but this time it's more than just a meme. Trump's administration has tasked Musk with heading up this new department.
Elon Musk, I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force,
which isn't even an official department yet, to audit the entire federal government and cut out the waste. Musk, who has revolutionized companies like Tesla and SpaceX, will apply his signature focus on cost cutting and efficiency to a bureaucracy that's been running inefficiently for years. The goal is clear. Stop spending more than the government takes in. It's a simple idea, but one that's proven incredibly difficult to execute. In theory, DOGE will overhaul the system, streamline operations, and slash unnecessary programs. Musk believes that by reducing waste and cutting down on government's bloating bureaucracy, the US can dig itself out of this financial hole.
Funniest name is DOGE, the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency.
Why now? The need for reform is urgent. In 2024, the US government spent $6.75 trillion, but it's only collected $4.92 trillion in taxes. This shortfall is financed by selling bonds, which means the government owes more and more money every year. And here's the kicker. Rising interest rates are making those bonds even more expensive. If left unchecked, the US will sink deeper and deeper into debt, threatening the country's financial stability. Musk's plan to cut government's waste and make the system more efficient might just be what the country needs. But not everyone is convinced.
This whole idea of this government efficiency agency.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is pretty simple, is that like we've got this suffocating, massive federal bureaucracy. Government spending is like bankrupting the country. Our interest payments on the national debt now exceed the Defense Department budget. The Defense Department budget is like $1 trillion a year. 23% of all government income taxes, tariffs, and everything is just going to pay interest right now. And that number is continually rising. So if we don't do something, the entire government budget will be paying interest. There won't be money for anything. No, there won't be money for Social Security. There won't be money for Medicare, nothing. That's where we're headed. It's like, hello, wake up. Wake up. So we have to cut government spending, or we're just going to go bankrupt, just like a person would with that overspend.
Here's a plan Musk is pushing. Audits everything, cut the inefficiencies, and streamline the operations.
There are expenditures that don't make a lot of sense, that are wasteful, and we need to put a stop to that. Honestly, there's so much government waste that's going on that I would call it a target-rich environment. Like, it's hard, like, in every direction. There's this just mad waste, and I think simply, if people simply know that, well, if they waste a ton of taxpayer money, they're going to get fired, that will immediately improve the situation. Immediately.
Musk wants to approach the governments like he would a business, focused on innovations, cost cutting, and results.
Department of Government Efficiency, you know, what that's going to do is really just take a look at all the federal expenditures and say if something is not, if you're not getting great value for money for your hard-earned tax dollars, cancel it. I would like to say it's a hard job, but actually it's not, because there's so much waste. So I actually think this is a fairly easy job. Although it will get a lot of opposition naturally from the entrenched interests that get the money and do nothing good with it. they'll be grumpy about it. But the American people will be very happy that their tax dollars are being spent in a much more sensible way.
He's already said that eliminating wasteful programs and services is a top priority.
These government agencies, and I actually asked the AI, like, how many government agencies are there? And the government isn't even sure how many government agencies there are. So it's like somewhere around 450, depending on what you call an agency, at the federal level. So that's almost twice as many agencies as years that America has existed. So we're creating agencies at roughly 2 agencies a year.
Wow.
Yes, this is crazy. So we've got this vast, suffocating federal bureaucracy that just gets bigger every year. And eventually you get to the point where everything is illegal. You can't get anything done.
And the vision, a government that runs more like a well-oiled machine than a bureaucratic quagmire. Sounds good, right? Well, it's not without controversy.
The point is not that people suffer economic hardship. The point is just that there are more productive things they can do in the economy. And it would be better if they did these other more productive things and we didn't have this vast federal bureaucracy. So I was like, maybe like a couple of years of pay would be good. And then they could take a vacation, they could take another job and get double pay. I mean, it's not going to create an economic crisis. I think it's actually going to be really good, I think, because people can move to where they're making products and services that are more useful to their fellow human beings.
While many Americans would welcome a leaner, more efficient government, there are serious questions about what Dodge could actually look like in practice. Massive job cuts. Musk has hinted at massive layoffs across federal agencies. Some estimates suggest that up to 75% of federal workers could be cut. While the goal is to remove inefficiency, critics worry that axing so many employees could cripple the government's ability to provide essential services. After all, government's workers are the ones handling everything from Social Security to immigration, and if you cut too deep, things could grind to a halt. Deregulation dangers. Musk's love for deregulation is well known, but critics are raising alarms that slashing regulations could put public health, safety, and the environment at risk. In fact, some experts have called Dodge an orgy of deregulation, a term that suggests major risk to public. No power to actually change anything. Here's a big problem. Dodge has no real power, and it's not a formal department, and it lacks of legal authority to make any real changes. For Dodge to succeed, it will need Congress to sign off on its plans, and given the political gridlock in Washington, there's no guarantee that lawmakers will give Musk initiate the green lights. Americans love the idea of cutting waste, but will Dodge deliver? Skeptics are calling it all bark and no bites. They wonder if this is just another flashy plan with no real follow-through. Critics said that while the idea of a leaner government is appealing, the execution could be a disaster. Eliminating remote work. In a world where flexible work arrangements are the norm, Dodge push that eliminate remote work for federal employees could lead to even more resignations. Imagine the chaos when public servants who prefer working from home are forced to return to the office or quit. The results? More staffing shortages and less efficient services. The risk of chaos. With so many sweeping changes happening at once and no clear framework to manage them, experts are worried about the chaos Dodge could unleash. If there's no structure to guide the changes, it could lead to confusion, mismanagement, and more inefficiency. Centralized power. Musk running the show could also be a problem. Watchdog groups are concerned by putting so much power in the hands of a single individual, especially someone with Musk's strong personality. It could lead to centralized decision-making that undermine the checks and balances of functioning democracy. If Musk's team has unchecked power, it could lead to bias, favoritism, or
I
worse?
think we need to take a look at all federal expenditures and say, is this really benefiting the American people or is it not? And if it is, well, are we spending it wisely? Well, usually the answer is no. So then we should spend less money and spend it efficiently. But there's got to be a clear benefit to the American people, or we should.
What's next for Dodge? The future of Dodge isn't clear. Will it succeed in cutting waste and saving money, or will it implode under the weight of its own ambitious goals? Much depends on whether Congress buys into the plan, whether the public supports it, and whether it can actually deliver results. If Dodge proves effective, it could stick around for years to come. If not, it could be disbanded as quickly as it was created. Either way, Elon Musk has stepped into uncharted territory, brings his business mentality to government's efficiency. But will it work? Time will tell.